Hello and welcome back to this final video in this series. One of the last things that I wanted to share with you about the real value in the CRM system, continuous root zone monitoring, is effective irrigation. Effectiveness in all that we do with water in the root zone. See, the industry as a whole has a tendency to think about efficiency, water efficiency. Efficiency is important, but even more important to creating a profitable root zone and a profitable outcome, even more important is effectiveness. If we're not effective with our rain, effective with our irrigation, efficiency, quite honestly, doesn't matter. We can be efficient, but be ineffective, and that's a problem. So let's take a look now at a data set that's going to really help us understand how to be truly effective in all that we do with water and water management. Okay, now one of the first things that I want to look at is what we would call a full point. And the nice thing about continuous root zone monitoring, where we're not removing the probe, that is a key. The fundamental truth is if we leave the probe in, we can be very accurate and very precise with each of the individual sensors in our probe. If we pull the probe out, to be quite honest with you, we lose a tremendous amount of value. So the fact that we can have continuous root zone monitoring, we can identify a full point that can be associated with our individual sensors. And we can identify a truth around each one of those sensors. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, early on in a cropping system, two things have to happen. Number one, root development. Roots must develop deep into the profile towards water, which means we have to have deep water and we have to have a root zone environment conducive to strong, deep root development. Now, one of the things that can greatly hinder root development is excess water in the early stages of crop production. You'll notice here these little red boxes. These little red boxes are a ways away from this full point, and that's intentional. We keep that away from the full point because we do want to keep the root zone dry enough at the upper level that the plants continue to seek out deeper water to develop that deep root zone. Now, I would not say that we want to stress the plants to develop a deep root zone. That's not what we want to do. We want to create an environment to maximize root development. That means that we put on the right amount of water at the right time, in the right way, and we can maximize root growth. Remember, a plant that is managing energy from start to finish, consistency, high levels of energy, consistent, that's what's actually going to make it work. The other thing that we want to follow with is remember the science that goes with the crop water use curve. Right? That crop water use curve, it's going to show us when it starts to increase substantially in water uptake. We have to predict that. We have to be ready for that. Knowing that we have a full point that we can trust because we do not remove the probe, we're able to predict that very accurately and push water deep so that we can keep water driving into the root zone without water going past the root zone. This is a fundamental truth about irrigation. You want to put on as much as you can without leaching and without runoff. Those are the two elements that we have to think about, which means the right time and the right rate are critical when we irrigate. Now, the one that we cannot control is the rain. We know that we're going to have rain events that are going to hit our field sometimes when we don't expect it, maybe even we're not looking forward to it, we haven't planned for it, but we want to measure the effectiveness of that rain. If the rain is effective and has gone down into the profile like we would want it to, let's say this was a big rain event. That rain event took down all the way down to our 32-inch root zone. It did a great job in recharging, and we didn't leach any water out. This is fundamental. This allows us to have confidence that we're holding our nutrition, we're holding our chemicals, we're holding all of the components to maximize root growth and maximize plant health. We're holding it in the root zone. We don't have anaerobic conditions. We do not have any conditions that's going to kill biology, that's going to kill off root exudates. We're going to keep everything completely healthy as much as possible. That is effective irrigation. You see, ineffective irrigation would be irrigation that we apply from the top down, but maybe we're at 70%, we put on an inch, and maybe we can hold 70 hundredths of an inch, we put on an inch, we've over irrigated. Okay, we've over irrigated. That's ineffective, which means we're super full, we've hit saturation, there's a good chance that anaerobic conditions were in effect for a period of time, which hurts biology, hurts soil health, hurts the little microfiber, the little hairs on the sides of our root system. It all gets injured under saturation. That's ineffective irrigation. Even if it was efficient, it's ineffective. We have to be careful with those things. So all of this data is around being effective when we irrigate and getting the most out of every single drop of water that we apply. That effectiveness will determine profit. It absolutely will, because it determines yield. The two go hand in glove. Your profit and your yield will work together. Now, sometimes a high yield doesn't give us a high profit, but if we get all the things to line up together, our seed, our fertilizer, and our water, all syncing together in a system that we're monitoring, that we're tracking, my friends, that will drive your profits through the roof. Now, this is probably one of the most critical data sets that you can use in water management. And I've talked a lot about signatures over the last several videos, but this last signature set that we're looking at here are the fundamentals of good irrigation, the fundamentals of building profit into your operation. If you're looking for a way to make more money on your farm this year, let's dive in and have a deeper discussion on how continuous root zone monitoring can do that for you. See, it's important that we help you make money in this growing season, but even more important is to make money all throughout the rest of your future of farming. If we can help you, increase your profits every single year, my friend, that will not only conserve our water resources and help us use those to the maximum of their potential, but it's also going to drive up the value in your community, the value of your family, the value of the life that you're trying so hard to create. It can all be done through effectiveness. Once we master effective irrigation and effective water management, my friends, we'll focus in on efficiencies and just help you skyrocket your potential. All right, my friends, I hope you have enjoyed this series. I've sure enjoyed putting this series together for you. I'm really looking forward to serving with you, working alongside with you, serving your family, your community, your environment as we move forward into the future. God bless. Have an amazing growing season, and we'll meet somewhere down the road. I promise that. Make it awesome, my friend.